What's up, party people? Today we're going to be talking about Dekaron's most recent update, which was an improvement to Karon's Fragment hard mode in the Crespo Abyss. They made the dungeon much simpler, they made the dungeon a lot more rewarding, and I definitely think it's something worth talking about. They went and they took the old map and they revamped it into a much cleaner, simpler new map, which I think is going to make it much more appealing to a lot of other players. Anyway, I went ahead and I did a run through of this dungeon. So I'm going to throw that up on screen here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think about the changes, and then, and then I'll be looking forward to hearing what you guys think about it as well. Let's get this party started. So the first thing that I noticed was, oh my gosh, there are actually people logged in. That's something that is not something that we've seen a lot of in Dekaron recently. I mean, it has been very, 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 very dead. The game has been insanely dead, mostly because they haven't been releasing basically any content at all. And this was the first piece of content that they released in, I don't even know how long. It's been a while. I mean, we haven't had something in, I don't know, months? Months has it been? I mean, basically it's just been like these teeny tiny little fixes and changes and no real content updates. And it was nice to see an actual piece of content make its way into the server. This is an update that Korea got a while ago, like a while ago. But I'm happy that it finally made it here. So let's talk a little bit about the update. So they took the dungeon and they made it a lot simpler. Now, this is a good and a bad thing, right? Basically, they took out all of the special mechanics in the dungeon, finding the extra keys, going to the extra rooms, fighting the optional bosses, and they just made it really, really, really simple. Basically, there's just a single path you follow now, and if you follow this path, you will be able to fight all the bosses, including the optional boss, or what used to be the optional boss. So now you really don't have to think about it at all. You just run through. Basically, there's, I think, 3 or 4 mini-bosses, and you have to kill the mobs that are around them, and then you can activate the little pillar or whatever next to them, and then you'll fight that mini-boss. I'm thinking the fastest way to do this dungeon is probably to kill all the mobs first, and then to activate all the pillars, and you could probably stack up all the mini-bosses and kill them all at once. I'm thinking that'd probably be the easiest way to do it, but I don't know. I've only run the dungeon once so far. But yeah, really simple, really straightforward. There's no way you could possibly get lost in this dungeon now, whereas before this dungeon was actually fairly complicated. So I like that they made it simpler, but I also think it's a little bit of a shame that they took out kind of the secret little extra stuff that was in the dungeon. I always think it's kind of fun to run a dungeon and be able to find secret, extra, special rooms or anything like that. And the fact that that was taken out is a little bit disappointing. But I think with how the game currently is being played, I mean, it's probably for the best, if I'm going to be completely honest. Now, upon completing the dungeon, you get DK square rank points, which is another thing I kind of have mixed feelings about. This is now a really good way to rank up your, or to get your DK rank up. I think it's a little odd that you're going to get your DK rank up, which is more of a PvP thing, with doing PvE. I do think that is a little strange. However, given that DK square is totally dead and the chance of actually being able to compete in there against most players, if you're an average player, is non-existent, this does give players a way to increase their rank. Now, you can complete this dungeon 5 times a day, but currently there is a bug going around where as long as you're in the party, if someone completes the dungeon, even if you're not in the dungeon, you still get the DK square points, or like the rank points at the end. And this, I don't know if it's okay or not okay, and I know people have been talking about it in Discord and stuff. And as of right now, there's been no response from VFun about whether or not this is a bug, whether or not you can be doing it. So until we get some type of clarity, I highly recommend not doing it, just because for all we know, they're going to consider it a bug and start banning people for abusing the bug. Because, I mean, it's obviously, I don't think it's something that was supposed to happen, but it is. So we'll have to see. And I know people have said in previous versions it happened, but still, it does not seem like a mechanic in a dungeon that really makes any sense at all. So most likely it's a bug, I would say, and I really don't recommend doing it. If you do, I don't know what's going to happen. So you'll just have to kind of wait and see. But even if you just do the dungeon 5 times a day, I think you get like 140k points or something like that. completing each run. So if you do your 5 runs a day, it's actually a pretty good way to get your DK square rank up. So it's a nice addition in that regards. Hopefully we get some clarity on this bug that's running around, but as per usual, VFun has zero communication with its players. Very similar to the Nexon era of the game. The communication is absolutely atrocious. So we'll kind of have to see how they decide to handle this, since they've been completely silent on it since it came out. The overall difficulty of the dungeon is it's not too hard. They said they made it a little bit harder, so it feels a little bit harder without trying to like optimally do it. I completed the dungeon, I think, in about 18 minutes or something like that. It wasn't too hard on my wizard. If you did it with a party, it would be even faster, obviously. I think the overall difficulty is good. The items that you get, the items that you would normally get in the dungeon would be the supplies for crafting the Heffron belt and the Heffron bracelet, and it is much easier to get all of these items now. So it is way easier to farm the belt and the bracelet. It's nice that's in the game. However, they've already had a lot of these packs and events floating around with the belt and the bracelet, so I mean, there's tons of them going around anyway. In fact, I think they should just make it even easier to craft the belt and the bracelet now. They should reduce the cost, but, we'll just kind of have to see what they do. So, overall, opinion of this update. It was nice to see a content update. The main content update that I am waiting for from Korea is for the drop rework for all these dungeons. In Korea, they got an update where their drops in all the dungeons are actually decent. They added a lot of D-Shop items into the drop table and stuff like that, and I'm really hoping we get that soon. That would really give me a reason to kind of be motivated and play. Getting my rank up, at least at this point, I don't know how much I care about that, just to be completely honest. It's nice that the option is there, but I don't see myself sitting here and farming this a ton, just because I don't care too much about my rank at the moment. But, who knows, maybe I'll do it a little bit. But, content update, reason to log in. Overall, it's okay. It's nice to see players logged in and playing. However, I'm sure the majority of those are alts anyway, or just people that are AFK. But, I don't know if I really have anything else to say about this update. I give it a solid 5 out of 10, right? It's okay. It's really nothing special. It's nice that there's something for players to do. I just want to point out, to VFund that, hey, look, you actually gave people something to do in game, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of people logged in enjoying the content. It's like, whoa, you released stuff that actually gives players a reason to play, and they actually log in and play, right? Like, that's insane. I'd really like to see more of that. Just saying. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say about the dungeon. I would really like to hear what you guys think about it. You can go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll try to respond as best I can. But yeah, questions, suggestions, comments, and until next time, guys, take care.